Welcome to What Is My Podcast About? A podcast where once every fortnightly we sit down as a collective and try to figure out what topic we want to talk about for our podcast. A seemingly increasing futile effort, I may add.
I think we're just not going to make a podcast.
I think it's because Matt keeps saying 2 weeks.
Because it is 2 weeks.
Well, it's fortnightly is the easier term.
I'm leading this episode and I'm not saying fortnightly.
You just did.
Aside from that time.
I'll just go back and edit it.
Alright, perfect.
Anyway, I'm Matthew. And as always, I'm joined by Peter and Keith.
Hello.
I'm just picturing in my head Keith already having edited this, and it's just Matt saying fortnightly and then saying he's not going to say 2 weeks.
I'll just actually replace every word with fortnightly.
Sorry, what are we talking about today, guys? Right, it's Matt's birthday, so Matt picked a topic, that's why I don't know.
So first, I want to hear what you guys thought that we were going to talk about based off of the clue that I gave you.
So,
I think me and Peter kind of started from the same thing and thought that it was going to be something Zelda-related, just through how many times you mentioned 3 in some capacity.
You also, put a lot of emphasis on the word try, and I thought, Triforce, of course.
So I thought it was going to be specifically Majora's Mask.
And I thought you just wanted to talk about the Legend of Zelda series as a whole, which I thought was fucking weird, because we already did an episode on that in case you don't remember.
Though my backup guess was the Dark Souls series.
Or my backup guess was also the Dark Souls series.
Well, good to know you both were on the same page for my clue.
And was it the right page?
No. Although, since you were both on the same page, it probably should have been.
Anyway, we'll make do.
On hindsight, I saw that saying my clue wasn't as good as if it was written out, because if you just Google Adventure and Try, your first result is Digimon Adventure Tri, which is what I mainly want to talk about, but also also touching on Digimon as a whole, Digimon Adventures anyway, the good part of Digimon.
Sure. We all know Digimon very well.
Are you telling
me
aware
of what the digital monsters are all about?
You've never seen Digimon?
That was me saying yes into a glass of water.
Have you seen Digimon, Keith?
Oh, of course.
Have you seen Digimon Tri?
Yeah, I've seen most of it.
Okay. At least there's something. Peter, you are in for an adventure.
Am I going to feel like you did during my Brent Weeks episode?
Maybe.
Yes.
There's a very good possibility.
Oh, before we get into the topic, let's give Peter a chance to just talk about something, I guess.
Yeah, let's not talk about Digimon just yet. I need to warm myself up a little bit. We should probably mention that we're well within quarantine by this point, and it's only going to get worse, so...
Quarantine? From?
Coronavirus?
Yes.
Why are you looking at me like that was trivia? Like, we wouldn't know.
Just in case there's...
You just got 1 point on Matt Games.
Just in case there's someone who, for some strange reason, didn't know about the virus.
Also, if you do know about the virus and are still going, what the fuck is wrong with you? I understand, yes, there's a certain amount of it that's over-exaggeration. Don't go out and buy out all the toilet paper, but also don't, keep spitting in people's mouths and shit. Be clean.
Yeah, wash your hands.
But what if I wanted to just build toilet paper forts while I'm stuck in my house?
Okay, fair.
That's a valid reason, but...
Case in point, we got here and Keith immediately told us had to wash our hands for 20 seconds before we were allowed to do anything else in our apartment, which really throws off my routine of jerking off as soon as I get here.
You just do them both together.
Cleaning 3 parts of my body instead of just my hands.
Yeah, anyway.
Another fun topic. We are recording this the day before Animal Crossing comes out.
And Doom. Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I really hope there's an Easter egg for Doom in Animal Crossing.
Or even one in Animal Crossing. I mean, in Doom.
In Doom, yeah. A Doom reference in Doom.
Yes. A Doom reference
I mean, technically they do. And on top of that, it looks like a lot of movies and stuff are getting pushed back or delayed. Sadly, one we've been excited for, Fast 9, is apparently a year delayed.
The continuation of the Fast saga is being delayed just because of the fact that they can't safely release during the summer. And everyone knows Fast 9 does not go with winter. Or Fast movies don't go with winter times. They go with summer and hot weather and cold beers. Cold beers, not warm beers.
There was the one with the warm beer.
Yeah, that's true.
Any games you guys been playing while stuck in your house or catching up on anything?
I've been hammering away at my vastly and ever so growing list of anime I want to watch.
I've been slowly chipping away at the anime I want to watch. I've also gone back to Fire Emblem Three Houses, which we already did an episode on, because new content has come out and I realized I haven't played the new content. And I also realized I just fucked off and never did one of the 4 storylines, so now I'm going back through and playing that 4th storyline. So, Golden Deer, you're getting your shot now.
It's the best one. Also the best ending fight song.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm kind of partial to Funeral Flowers, but, to each their own.
I myself have been rewatching Neon Genesis and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure through Netflix. And on top of that, I've been just kind of buying time with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms 14 demo until Animal Crossing comes out.
Speaking of demos, I can't get over how good Final Fantasy VII is looking. I cannot wait until April 10th.
Yeah, I have a friend who was surprised to find out that they weren't releasing the full game as one.
No, it's being released in essentially episodes, kind of like all games are trying to do now.
Yeah, but I tried to raise his spirits by saying that the part we were getting, the Midgar part, is going to be essentially the length of a regular Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, and I believe...
Which is insane.
We don't have an exact layout of how it's going to be broken up, but if I remember correctly, the original game was 3 discs, and the first disc pretty much ended when you got into Midgar anyways.
So it's probably just going to be broken up into the 3 separate discs. Would make some amount of logical sense.
Yeah, depending on how much they want to flesh out other parts of the story.
True.
Although I can't say for certain because I've never played.
So long as we
Final
get
Fantasy
a lengthy portion of Cloud pretending to be a woman, I'm alright.
I mean, we've already seen that in some aspect, the Bumblebee is going to be present.
Okay, good.
I'm intrigued.
I would go so far as to say I'm curious.
Oh my.
So, Digimon?
Digimon. Anyway.
Tell me all the things I need to know about these digital monsters, Matthew.
So, since you are a clean slate in terms of any knowledge on Digimon, I may
7 young kids go to camp for the summer.
wind up living in a digital land where everybody gets to meet their own Digimonster, a digital companion, a digital friend.
It's weird how you guys kind of said that in unison. Is this something I should know?
Well, yes, actually. But, anyway, I mainly wanted to focus on Digimon Adventure Tri for this episode, which is the technical 3rd season of the original first 2 seasons of Digimon, if that makes sense.
The first 2 seasons are part of Digimon Adventures,
yes.
And then it has different subtitles.
And then there's, because Digimon, the first season was Digimon Adventures, second season was Digimon Adventures 02, and they had the same continuity, they took place in the same human world and digital world. Then season 3 was a different world, different digital world. Season 4
Let's
was...
not even get started on goddamn Renamon.
Yeah, oh my god, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to introduce Peter to those horrors.
No.
Yeah, season 4 was different. Season 5, again, different. But season 3, or not season 3, Digimon Adventure Tri was brought back as the 15th year anniversary of Digimon. And they decided to continue on with the original Digimon Adventure cast and finish, or grow on that story.
Okay.
Because it already did have kind of a definitive ending at the end of the original Adventure season.
Yeah, because...
It was quite the tearjerker.
Yes. Digimon Adventure 1 ended in a very bittersweet way, which, even to this day, I will cry when I watch that episode. And Season 2, at the end of everything, they gave a prologue that happened 25 years after.
Yeah, but fuck that prologue.
Actually, apparently it's still canon.
God damn it!
But we haven't gotten there yet.
I'm just saying, if you spend the whole season having the whole triangle between Davis, TK, and Kari, and have her marry some random shit, why?
Part of me hopes that it does get retconned, because we have Digimon Adventure Tri. Here, I have the timeline.
Oh, Matt just pulled out a bunch of paper attached with red string.
There's no red string. Stop lying to them. Anyway, so Digimon Adventure 1 begins in the year 1999, canonically. Digimon Adventure 2 starts in...
I think it's 2002.
2002? Yes, I have it written there.
Because Digimon Adventures 02.
Yeah, Digimon Adventure 02 starts 3 years after the defeat of the main antagonist of Digimon 01. And then 3 years after the end of Digimon Adventure 02 is when Digimon Adventure Tri starts. And so the characters, like us, are growing up. And Digimon Adventure Tri, when it was released, very much was intended for the audience who grew up watching Digimon Adventures 1 and 2. Because it certainly felt more mature, had a more refined art style, and had harder-hitting story themes included in it. So, do you have any questions regarding Digimon to start with, Peter? Well, I guess that's a little hard to ask you since you have, no basis in it.
Yeah, what's an Agumon?
Okay, yeah, so, lots of people say that Digimon is a ripoff of Pokemon. That's not really true, because they both came out at around the same time, kind of to promote various toys and trading card games.
Well, at the same time, Pokemon came from, it's the term for, little capsule things.
Yeah.
So it's the breakdown of that word, and monsters, just like Digimon was digital and monsters, the same thing. They both would have been production at the same time. I believe, actually, in Japan anyways, Digimon actually released first.
It did.
But
Movie.
Pokemon was the first one to get localized over here.
A movie was what released first, if I do recall correctly. But, yeah. In terms of Pokemon evolve, and then they evolve again, and they stay in those forms. Digimon, however, their evolutions can fluctuate back and forth. They hatch, they have a little in-training form, then they evolve, or digivolve to Rookie, then Champion, Ultimate, Mega. Those are just the base evolution digivolving stages.
Rookie, Champion, Mega?
Ultimate Mega.
Ultimate Mega.
Yes.
Ultimate Mega is 1. So
no,
it's
2. There's the first one is technically in training,
Yeah.
but then that's their baby form.
baby form.
Then Rookie,
Rookie.
Champion, Ultimate, Mega. Yes, they're referred to slightly different in the Japanese version, but we're not going to...
Training,
Worry too
Rookie,
much about
Champion, Ultimate, Mega.
Yeah.
Also, another thing to point out is just because that's the forms per level, they can have multiple Digimon on a level, essentially.
Yeah, so, whereas Pokemon...
So Agumon, I believe, has 2 Megas, or is it 2 Ultimates?
Well, if you look into everything Digimon, there's a huge web of how Digimon can evolve and change. But that's just based on their upbringing, how they're trained, and what they fight, so on and so forth. Whereas Pokemon, they have just set evolution lines. And in terms of the main Digimon anyway, when they evolve, or digivolve, they always revert back to their rookie form because digivolving and fighting consumes energy. And, when they get tired, they change back.
They get evolving even less right than Pokemon in that evolution isn't a thing that happens on an individual scale, it happens as a species. So saying one creature evolves into another creature is already a fucking problem. But with Digimon, they take it a step further and they're like, yeah, it evolves and then de-evolves simultaneously and keeps jumping back and forth within one single creature.
Well, mostly in terms of digivolving, we see it happening with the main cast's Digimon partners.
Yeah, and they're not evolving, they're digivolving, which is the code is changing.
Well, in English, digivolving, in Japanese, evolving, so it doesn't really matter what you say, but anyway.
Okay.
Essentially, because the core thing here is Digimon are code.
Yeah, they're code-based monsters. The foundation of the world, I should say, was laid when the very first computer, the Atanasoff Berry computer, was activated for its first time.
Okay.
And from there is when the digital world started to grow in a quantum sea of code.
Yeah, that's a lot of techno-babble jargon.
In a way, part of the best way to explain it is the digital world is the internet.
Pretty much.
Okay. Follow-up question now that I realize this all takes place in a digital world. Do we ever get to see an antagonist who is just like a hacker who is fucking with the digital world through techno-hacking?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
Awesome. I'm on board.
Okay. So, the first season is mainly they're fighting threats inside the digital world. And then the second season involves hackers from the outside world.
Okay.
Yeah, because the premise of the first season is they trapped here, they're trying to get back, then they need to go back to stop the bad thing that's out and about now.
Yeah. So, as we sang about, 7 young kids go to camp for the summer.
It was supposed to be 8.
It was supposed to be 8,
One
but
was sick.
Yeah, one was sick at the time.
Is this one sick kid come back as an antagonist later?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Because it's
actually a plot point halfway through the first series where they have to find the 8th Digidestin before the bad guys do.
So the main cast are called Digidestined, hence their Digimon partners with their...
They're destined to be Digi-heroes or some bullshit
Yes,
like that?
they were chosen by a
Summer
quote-unquote...
counselor?
A quote-unquote higher form in the digital world who is technically a god but doesn't refer to itself as a god. You'll learn later on in the series that it's called homostasis.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
And its sole objective is to maintain balance and peace for the digital world. And so it chooses the Digidestined and partners them up with Digimon for that purpose, gives the Digidestined these Digivices which allow them to Digivolve their partner Digimon. Whereas most Digimon that they encounter in the digital world, they're already Digivolved, or they're at whatever form that they're going to be. They don't Digivolve up, they don't Digivolve down.
Well, that's not entirely true, because they do have the ability to Digivolve. To do it willingly requires a Digivice and a partner, whereas some Digimon will just naturally, through strength, Digivolve up.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. And also another thing to point out, in most cases, if a Digimon dies in the digital world, then its data, since it's data, it's saved, it's maintained, but it reverts back to an egg.
Okay.
It goes to Digimon daycare and hatches.
Hatches. Back to the in-training form.
Okay.
I do say most cases because there are instances where Digimon die permanently. And they're very sad, I must say. And drive some people insane. Anyway, moving on from there. Into Digimon Tri.
This is the good season from what I understand.
Season 1 and Season 2 are also good.
This is just the season you wanted to talk about regardless of quality.
Season 1 was good. The issue I had personally with Season 1 was the first 16 episodes are pretty much focusing on each character individually and follow the exact same story of they all encounter a problem. Everyone except one of them is in trouble. The one who's in trouble has a big fight with their Digimon, ends up getting over it, and that Digimon then Digivolves into its next form, and then repeat constantly for the next 16 episodes.
Yeah, because one common theme is that in order for Digimon and their partner to get stronger for fights, they have to overcome some sort of challenge or trouble to strengthen the bond that they share between each other.
Yeah, each of the Digidestins have a crest, which relates specifically to a trait they excel in, and that helps them evolve the Digimon even further.
Okay. Sure.
Like the main character, Tai, has courage.
Yeah.
Sora's love.
Matt is friendship, Mimi, sincerity, although it was in Season 2 renamed as purity.
Yeah. My man, Izzy.
Knowledge. Reliability for Joe, good old Joe. TK, hope. And then the 8th Digidestined special case had the crest of light, which comes with its own ups and downs.
You know, her personality of light that excels.
It's very, very ambiguous. But that is a significant plot point at certain points in the future for the Digimon season or series.
And then I believe in the first season, only a few of them actually reach Mega Evolution.
Yes.
Specifically,
Actually,
I think 4?
Only Tai and Matt get to Mega Evolution.
Oh yeah, because TK's whole thing is he finally gets to Ultimate at the end.
Yes. And, well, because of his special case, all Digimon aren't the same power at each level. So, like, one champion can be stronger than another champion, and so on and so forth. Which is kind of like Pokemon. But, so, it was not until near the end of, actually the halfway point of Season 1, where the little kid TK's Digimon partner finally evolved to champion, and he was so much stronger than all the other Digimon's champions.
Did you almost just call it a
No,
Pokemon?
no.
Sounded kind of like you almost called it a Pokemon. Go on.
And since that was his first time Digivolving and exerting strength to overcome the main threat at the first half of the season, he reverted to an egg at the end of that, and it was a heartfelt moment.
Yeah, that's kind of with the first season, another one of the issues I had where clearly TK probably should have been the main character through all of it because he was always the one that got his powers just at the right time to actually save everything. Because all the fights up to this point was just kind of the characters growing. Yeah. Didn't really matter which one it was. It just happened to be that's how they showed the characters' powers. But TK specifically got gated out of his powers until specific boss fights that the fate of the world loomed on.
Yeah. I guess that's why he got the Crest of Hope. Everyone hopes that he can pull through at the end.
Because if I remember correctly, too, like, it was specifically Devimon's like, oh, I better take care of that small one, because he's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And, but yeah, he probably just didn't fit the role of main character because he was so young and he was crying a lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
Like, what, 12 to 8?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Elementary school students. And in Season 2, the older members of the team, Ty, Sora, Matt, Joe, and Mimi, and Izzy, everyone except for TK and Kari, go to high school.
Yeah, and then it's TK, Kari, and then
massive
new characters from junior high school.
A massive new characters, or 3 new characters are chosen.
Technically 4.
Yeah. But events outside of the actual anime that were alluded to in the anime but mentioned in different games, he was chosen before the others for other reasons.
And then the movie kind of finishes off both seasons in a sense.
Yeah, kind of ties together the characters more solidly.
This one involves a virus Digimon that's destroying the internet and is going to launch nukes.
Yep, it launches a nuke. It's called Our War Game.
Sorry, what's it called?
The movie is called Our War Game, and this virus infects a Digimon, and it starts going rampant in the network, starts causing outages for all electronic devices everywhere, and launches a nuke.
At the protagonists.
At the protagonists.
Just jumping back a little bit, the Digimon have the capacity to control all the nukes of the real world?
Well, this one specifically, because it was a super strong virus that was taking over everything.
Yeah, it was an actual computer virus that happened to infect this Digimon.
Yeah.
But, like, in theory...
In theory, yes.
Digimon have the capacity to control nukes in the real world.
But they have to have some sort of ability that will let them do that, because most Digimon don't actually have that capacity.
Yeah, this one, because the virus is able to, when he latched on to specific programs, could repurpose them for himself.
Jesus Christ. Alright. You got me. I'm invested.
This was, I believe, Diaboromon?
Yes.
Yeah. And we get a new evolution, which is evolving Digimon together.
Fusion! Or
So-
DNA digivolving.
Yeah.
So, Digimon fuck. Alright, yes, go on.
Yes, well...
You answered another question I hadn't gotten around to asking yet.
I mean, we saw the eyes that Matt and TK were giving each other.
Yeah, that was a little... a joke that keeps popping up throughout Tri. Is that TK, he grows up to be such a woman's man, such a lady killer. He's like, when the blackouts... Okay, something starts to go wrong with the digital world. You get the hints through blackouts, news coverage about blackouts of technology, power goes out, electronic devices start going wonky. And there's some sightings reported of some strange creature flying around. A Digimon called Kawagamon, who's the very first Digimon that you see in Adventure 01, for good old reference back to the good old days. Those blackouts were starting, and the character Matt was about to have a concert with his band.
Okay, so there's a character named Matt.
Yes.
When you said Matt and TK were making eyes, I was like, is our friend Matthew making eyes at a fucking anime child boy? But yes, go on.
No, so he was about to have a concert, and his brother TK was there, had invited a couple friends.
Wait, so Matt and TK are brothers?
I
Yeah,
said Ty and Matt.
Oh, Ty and Matt. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. I was gonna
Okay,
say.
yeah. Also that.
Go on.
Because, Ty and Matt have a strong connection because their Megaform Digimon can combine to another stronger Megaform Digimon.
But this is only after the power was unlocked by their younger sibling shooting them with arrows.
Yes.
What the fuck? Okay.
The power of
A
light
wizard
and
told
hope.
them to do it.
Becoming less invested. Let's go.
So yeah, just a side note, because TK becomes such a lady killer. The Matt's band gig was canceled because of all the blackouts, so he calls up a phone. He's like, "Hey, yeah, sorry, the band or the gig's about to be canceled. You don't have to come anymore." And then he calls up another girl. He's like, "Yeah, sorry, the show's going to be canceled. Sorry, you don't have to come anymore. There's nothing going on." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, he's yeah." And throughout this season, you see that Kari is more interested in TK also, and she gets really jealous of this fact that TK is seemingly interested in other girls. But then TK keeps making the joke, oh, you know that you're the only one for me, Matt. and then Matt's like, excuse me? No, don't put that evil on me.
Okay.
But yeah, so the blackouts start happening.
Back to the blackouts, yes.
Yes. And then Tai sees Kawagamon and starts chasing after him. And then that's when all their partner Digimon start appearing when they need their help. Well, Tai's about to be killed by Kawagamon, and then Agumon shows up to help him. Because of their connection to their Digidestined and potentially the Digivices, the Digimon are able to transfer themselves from the digital world to the human world.
Which, it's probably important to mention here that Season 1 kind of definitively ends with the original Digidestined no longer able to access the digital world in any capacity.
Right, because the two worlds were kind of connected due to the troubles that were going on, and once they fixed everything was lined up back to normal and the gateway was closing, and so they had to leave, and at the time they thought they were saying goodbye forever.
Okay.
So when their Digimon start popping up, you do have to ask some questions like, what's going on?
Yeah, something is definitely amiss, because the only times that the gate opens up are when things start going bad.
And so the gate opens back up, and they assume things are going bad?
Yes, because there's a glitchy-looking Kawagamon running rampant and destroying the city.
Is this the one who launches nukes?
No.
This is a different one.
This is pretty much a giant beetle.
Giant red beetle.
Okay.
And, yeah. So they have their first encounter with this big guy, destroy him, or they force him back into a digital rift, or some sort of fissure that was opening up all over the place. Because these are apparently somehow causing problems. These are the things that are causing blackouts, and they don't know what's going on at this point in time. And then, cue, the next day at school, transfer student arrives. Everything always starts going bad when the transfer student shows up.
That's true.
And also a new Digimon. And it takes them a little bit of time to put two and two together that the two of them are partners, and that's another Digidestined.
That's true, because one thing that's pretty weird, Digimon likes to go back and retcon the original Digidestined of how many exactly there were.
Yeah.
Because originally there's the 7, and then the story says, oh, there's actually a secret 8th one that, because Kari didn't go to camp with it because she was sick,
yeah.
She never became one.
And then we find out that there was an original team of Digidestined who came to the digital world to fight off the evil threat years before them.
But there's also the guy in the United States, which they picked all these Digidestined from Japan, and then that one guy from the US.
Yeah. And then in Season 2, there's the Digidestined from Japan, and then there's groups of Digidestined from all over the world. Russia, France, Australia. There's a couple in Canada.
I mean, that's fine. It's just because the original core group, they were kind of like, they keep going back and just saying, because I believe the girl from Tri that they introduced was also one of the original set of Digidestined. Just like the guy in the US.
And she wasn't...
Kind of feels like Digidestined is becoming a less impressive title.
She wasn't one of the original Digidestined, because a point you learn later on is that her Digimon partner has a shard of the antagonist from Season 1 embedded in its code.
Yeah, that's Makumon is the one.
Yeah, Mekumon.
What the fuck?
Their digital code.
But it has a shard of the antagonist inside. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a plot point you come across later, not in episode 1.
Does it have a significant impact on the plot?
It does.
Of course, yeah. Why wouldn't it? If I had a piece of the antagonist inside of me from my story, who would be the antagonist? Alright, sorry, that's a question for another day.
But yeah, after seeing all the destruction at the airport, Tai is broken up because, they're the Digidestined. They're supposed to help the digital world and help protect people. But he saw all the damage that they had caused. He saw all the people running in panic and almost getting killed by Kawagamon in the streets. He's conflicted. Because obviously, yes, they've got to do something. But how are they going to be able to do it without hurting anyone or affecting anyone's lives? The answer is they're not going to be able to do that. And so Matt...
I was really hoping the answer was going to be friendship, but yes, go on.
So Matt is arguing with Tai for most of this episode, where Tai... He's just calling... Yeah, they're always arguing. But Matt's calling Tai a coward for not stepping up to the plate to take care of his role, step up and take his responsibilities.
As the leader.
As a leader, hence he's got the goggles.
Yeah. If you have goggles in the Digimon universe, you're in charge.
Yep. It's still facto rule.
Okay!
Yeah.
Medium invested now.
Yeah.
What if I told you that one of the Digimon turned into a giant dinosaur that shoots missiles out of his chest?
Maximum investment again.
Yeah, so, things start to proceed. They start chasing after these rifts and trying to, fight back the corrupted Digimon that are coming through, because they find out that they're being corrupted by some sort of virus. Some infection, as they're calling it. And Izzy, the computer whiz he is, and helping his friend across seas with his company, has his own little office and his own data servers set up, so he sets up a safe haven separated from the rest of the network where they can hide their Digimon and protect them from the infection. But that doesn't last too long. And
He's a genius, but he's not that good.
yeah. And, so near the end of I should probably point out at this point that Digimon Adventure Tri, well, technically a third season, was released in a series of 6 movies. And they were just broken up into episodes for streaming purposes.
Yeah. Also, I believe by this point, too, we've seen the Season 2 cast just
Yes,
get
right.
wiped.
Yeah, so one very key detail that I forgot to mention was that in the intro scene where we're watching all the newscast report on the blackouts and such, we're getting brief flashes of the Season 2 Digidestined just being brutally attacked and taken out by something. It's like, it looks like they're being killed. And then it fades out in the final scene that we see of them. They're all unconscious or dead, we don't know at this point, on the ground, and there's some huge Digimon just overlooking them.
What's the name of the Digimon that's over them?
That one, we find out at the end of the first movie. Its name is Alphamon.
Okay, like the
What I get the
first
feeling there's an
Mon.
Omegamon coming.
Because there is an Omegamon coming.
Because every time you have Alpha, you have to have Omega. The beginning and the end.
Yep. So, Alphamon, a little bit of Digimon lore, is one of the Royal Knights, who are supposed to be protectors of the digital world, working for their so-called god or king.
And also are known to occasionally slaughter Digidestined by the dozen.
Yes, in this case, yes. So,
There's about a 50% rate of that.
Yeah.
he shows up. Matt finally convinces Tai to fight against this threat, to contain it, at least. And so they combine their Digimon to digivolve into their big mega form, Omegamon. Omegamon versus Alphamon.
So when the Digidestined have their Digimon merge and fuck and all that fun stuff, it creates Omegamon?
Just Tai and Matt.
Just Tai and Matt. Okay.
I always thought it was Omnimon.
It was called Omnimon in English, but in Japanese it was Omegamon.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Okay.
And just because of that whole Alpha and Omega connection, I've decided to just start calling him Omegamon. He's got a friggin' cape and a cannon for one hand and a sword for another hand. He's cool.
He's got a cannon and a sword. Alright.
The head of one of the Digimon becomes the left hand, which is a cannon, and the head of the other one becomes a sword.
Which is the right one.
What is the rest of their bodies? How does the...
A giant white knight.
So, just to clarify, 2 Digimon merge and essentially become the weapons wielded by a mysterious third Digimon that comes out of nowhere to wield the 2 of them.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, there's now a white knight fighting a black knight. Classic.
Alphamon is the Black Knight?
Yes. And, he shows up and Alphamon, this giant towering Digimon, starts attacking the transfer student's Digimon, Mekumon. For whatever reason, it's hunting after it. Plot point for the future, we don't know why yet.
Okay.
But we find out at this point, once they force Alphamon back into the rift, that Mekumon is being hunted for whatever reason, and the cast are worried. They've befriended the transfer student, and they're going to help them. Next episode is a good old episode of development for Joe and Mimi. Because at this point, the character Joe, he's older than all of them. Right now, he's focusing on studying for his entrance exams to get into medical school. And he's not doing great. He's almost failing. So he's putting his heart and soul into studying, and he doesn't want any of this digital stuff happening
Now, keep in mind, the power of friendship is very important in this world.
I'm
Yes.
going to say, though, if I lived in this world, I don't think I would want this digital stuff happening. So I completely identify with...
So,
Joe was his name?
yes, Joe.
Joe,
Good old
okay.
Joe.
The crest of reliability.
Yes.
Which
It doesn't sound that reliable if he's abandoning his friends because
No,
he
that's
doesn't want
the
anything to do with
problem.
the digital world.
he gets downright depressed because, one, he wants to help his friends. He's always been there for them, but he's not there for them right now because he's trying to focus on his future. Because that matters to him, obviously, as it should to everyone. And he doesn't want the Digimon to get in his way, but he wants to help his Digimon. And his partner Digimon's like, oh, we couldn't help them at the airport. Don't worry, Joe, we can help them next time. And Joe's like, yes, next time. But there's a whole rift kind of caused there. And Joe is spiraling into depression this entire movie.
Pretty much.
And a good old duo of Digimon from the past come into play here, an infected Ogremon and Leomon, the good old stalwart warrior.
One's a giant ogre, one's a giant lion with a sword.
Yes.
Lion with a
Well,
sword?
He's got pants, too.
Yes. He's a humanoid.
Is he bipedal?
He's
Yes.
bipedal. Humanoid, lion head.
I was going to say,
And he's got a
lions
sword.
generally aren't bipedal wearing monsters with hands. Okay.
But yeah, those two are kind of friends, kind of allies, acquaintances. They don't really get along, but they help each other out.
They're pretty much frenemies.
Pretty much.
Okay.
They fight forever, and then in the original series, Leomon ends up dying, saving the Digidestin, and Ogremon's like, oh no, my friend who I always fought is dead now. I guess I'll have to help you now.
Like Ash and Gary Oak, except actually friends in addition to just being enemies.
It's like Ash and Gary Oak if they were both Gary Oak.
And
That makes sense.
And trying to kill each other on a daily basis.
So it's like Gary Oak and Gary Oak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alright.
So Leomon pops in to help the guys out, and there's a obviously school culture festival going on. There's got to be a school culture festival. With
If it's an anime, I assumed there was a culture festival somewhere.
We already had
in
the
this
exchange student.
transfer student high school
culture festival.
cultural festival in Japanese anime, Japanese culture. It's got to happen. And so all the Digimon are kept in Izzy's office in their safety bubble. But they want to go. They feel really lonely that all of their companions are out enjoying themselves, and they want to go. And Leomon is the only one there guarding them. He's like, no, you gotta stay here.
Sorry, I almost definitely missed this specific detail earlier, and I apologize because something went over my head. The Digimon are in the real world wanting to go to the culture festival? I thought they existed
Yes.
in the Digiworld.
They can go moving.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're the Digidestined Digimon.
So the Digidestin can pull their Digimon into the real
Well,
world.
Digimon can also enter the real world when
If-
there's these warps or tears.
Yeah, because these tears are happening because of this virus, this infection.
And to clarify, the digital world is essentially the internet. So you're saying that tears are opening between the internet and the real world, and
Yes.
monsters are coming out of the internet into the real world.
Yes. So
And that's how
once we start piecing...
Alphamon killed a bunch of people, I assume? Or did he kill them in the digital world?
That was in the digital world.
Okay.
Once we start getting all the plot points and piecing them together, everything will start making sense.
I'm sure it won't.
Because I remember when I was first watching this, and I watched... Even after finishing episode... 4. Or the movie 4. I was still confused. Because there's a lot of things that are still in the process of being answered.
Because the part I got up to was where Jedi got revealed and he was young again. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, because you've got to think about it this way. The main cast, they're a bunch of high school students, and there is this organization that's working, trying to protect the Digidestined around the world and trying to fight off this digital threat. They're keeping secret because they want the Digidestined to be able to live their own normal lives as much as possible. And so we have the point of view of high school students who are just figuring things out as they come to them, while the people who are trying to handle things but are failing miserably are just trying to let them live their lives as students instead.
And this secret organization, is it also high school students or is it a bunch of adults?
It's a bunch of adults.
Yeah.
Classic anime trope. All
Your
right, cool.
typical Men in Black situation.
Yes. Adults recognizing that high school students are the ones who will save the world, but they need to protect the high school students until they're at a point where they can save the world. All right, cool. Back on board. More just classic anime tropes.
Also, two of them work at their school.
Yeah. Also, it's
standard anime bullshit. Yes.
It's not a well-known organization that they work for, but it is a government one. So they are kind of secret, but not completely classified.
So is this just like a Japanese thing? Because we've already said that the Digidestined exist across the world.
Think of them as a Japanese government-run Men in Black. Because there have been incidents with Digimon in the real world in the past, and yet no one seems to remember them.
Well, if I remember correctly, Tai becomes the ambassador to the Digimon world.
In the epilogue, yes, potentially. So they're trying to... That's why we are so kind of clueless as to what's happening right now. Into the second episode, things are happening. The Digimon finally, due to how cute they are, mostly Mekumon, acting like a cute, adorable cat, making puppy dog eyes at Leomon, he caves into how cute they are and takes them to the Culture Festival. And they enter a costume contest because they want free food.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm going to... actually, probably now would be a good time to point out that two of the Men in Black organization members, their names are Maki and Daigo. Daigo is also one of their teachers. Maki's this uptight kind of businesswoman, very serious about her work. And she just decides to start enjoying herself at the Culture Festival also because Daigo's like, come on, just lighten up a bit, just for today, alright? And, Mekumon, the one who's being hunted by Alphamon, wanders off because they're excited about something that they saw. And then, from the shadows, you see two hands grab Mekumon, pick him up. Just looks like Maki. Maki smiles at him and walks away with Mekumon. And you're like, okay, that was a little odd, but oh well. Next scene, Maki's still in a classroom with Daigo and the other students.
So, Alphamon is a shapeshifter?
Not Alphamon.
Someone else.
Someone else is a shapeshifter.
Or Maki has a twin.
Gamamon.
Gamamon? Betamon.
Numamon.
Deltamon.
Numamon.
Numamon?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, so a rift starts to open up in the back of the school, where conveniently there's no students. So the Digidestined go to deal with it, see a character known as the Digimon Emperor, who was the hacker guy villain from the second season that we mentioned earlier. But
also known as Ken.
Also known as Ken, who was influenced by certain evil things. And he was saved in the second season, and he became one of the Digidestined.
Classic anime trope. Antagonist is actually being manipulated by a bigger antagonist and is now one of the protagonists.
Yes. But
He's
now,
an antagonist again.
he's back to being an antagonist, it seems. And he's holding Mekumon. So like, where did Maki go? Why did Maki carry him away? Why is Maki working with the Digimon Emperor, who's not supposed to be the Digimon Emperor anymore? And who we saw the actual Digimon Emperor, quote-unquote, die.
It's actually Numamon, shapeshifting into the Digimon Emperor because he needs, like, the clout of an actual bad guy. Cool. I see where this plot is going.
The rift opens up. Digimon Emperor carries Mekumon into the rift, and the Digidestined send their Digimon in to fight against another Digimon, Imperial Dramon, that shows up.
Sorry, what was the name?
Imperial Dramon.
So the Emperor is being protected by someone named Imperial Germon?
Yes.
An Imperial German is protecting the Emperor. Alright, cool, go on.
Anyway, so, and Mimi also got a bit of character development. Not nearly as interesting as Joe, because Joe had very more relatable bit of character development and spiral into depression and all that. Mimi just realized that, yes, she loves honesty. She always wants people to speak their mind and absolutely hates when people don't speak their mind and do what they want. And so the class calls her out for being self-centered and just thinking about herself all the time. And Mimi's like, what? No, that's not true. And goes a little emotional about that. But they overcome that, and their Digimon get to Mega Evolve because of that. Mega Digivolve. And
Because
because
it took 3 seasons, and we finally got it.
yes, 2 more of the cast get their mega evolutions. And then they fight off Imperial Digimon. For some reason, the Digimon Emperor is like, here you go, here's Mekumon. You can have him back. Also, I want to point out at this time that Leomon also got infected, and they had to fight him back too.
It's soon to become a trend.
Soon to become a trend, yes. But then, at the end of this, students are good, students go all the way, and then we learn from the Men in Black people that Mekumon is the cause of the infection. And then the next episode is when we learn that Mekumon has a sequence of code from the antagonist of the first season. And that's why they're able to generate these rifts and cause these infections. And then the next episode, one of the Digidestined, their Digimon, Patamon, cute little guy with wings for ears.
Also the most powerful Digimon, pretty much.
Most powerful Digimon digivolves into an angel.
Twice,
yeah. 2
And a
forms of
dragon.
angel. 3 forms of angels. It's Gatomon who goes angel,
Oh yeah, dragon.
dragon.
3 separate angels that this one Digimon digivolves into.
Yeah. So their rookie form, little pink thing with long ears.
Yep. Go on.
I know, rookie form is a little kind of brown pig thing with wings for ears.
Okay.
Then champion form, angel. Ultimate form, another angel with a sword. Mega form, another angel
More wings.
with more wings, 6 wings.
With more wings. So it goes brown pig, pink wing ears. Angel with sword, angel with wings.
6 wings.
Alright, cool.
Because all the angels have wings, but that last one has 6 wings, so you know it's special.
It's like 3 times more powerful than a normal angel.
Okay.
Yes. It's called Seraphimon.
And I assume it has the power of both God and anime on its side.
Close enough.
Pretty much.
Alright.
Patamon, that's the little guy with ears name, is infected. And, TK is very obviously upset about this. His feels like lifelong friend is infected and is going to go insane. Just kind of isolates himself from the others, takes Patamon away so he doesn't infect the other Digimon, but it's too late. They're all getting infected anyway. And then this is when we first get word from Homostasis.
That's the god of the Digimon world?
Homeostasis, yes. Because of good old Kari's crest of light. That crest comes with good and bad. Good. Powers of light empower her and her Digimon, but she's a lot more easily influenced by powers of darkness also. So she's a lot easier to be sent into, like, a pit of despair or such.
Yep.
Anyway, she turned off her cell phone, but it starts ringing. She picks it up, and then all of a sudden she's possessed by homeostasis. Because digital entity possesses her for whatever reason. That still doesn't make sense to me.
Or anybody else, for that matter.
The brain's just a bunch of electric synapses.
Yeah, if you think about it, we're just biological machines.
Like the Digimon.
Yeah. And then homeostasis finds the other Digimon who have come to realize that they're all getting infected, and they're trying to figure out what to do to stop being infected so they can continue helping, or just protect their partners. Homeostasis mentions to them that the only way to stop this infection is for a reboot of the digital world.
How you solve most computer problems.
They'd bring all of the Digimon, they'd force all the Digimon back through the rifts into the digital world and force a reset, setting the digital world back to a state before the infection. But that also means that the Digimon are going to lose their memories, and they're no longer going to have any recollection of being partners with the Digidestined. And so if you were interested at all in Digimon, or invested in the characters at all, this would be a very heartbreaking moment for you, Peter.
It is. The idea that the digital monsters are going to forget about the small children with whom they are linked. I'm following everything that's happening.
It actually is a very sad moment.
Yeah. Because they realize that in order to protect the ones they care about, they have to forget the ones they care about.
And then they reboot the digital world.
They reboot the digital world after some fighting, They all get infected.
Well, if I believe correctly, Tentamon was not infected.
Tentamon was infected, but the infection didn't take hold fully, whereas it managed to take hold on all of the other Digimon.
I remember there was one of them that was not infected, and they went back into the hole to help.
Yeah, because there was fighting happening, because Mekumon, at this point, the characters found out Mekumon was the cause of the infection. They were hunting down Mekumon. Found Mekumon, but they were trying to fight back, or fight against the reboot also. Izzy was racking his brain trying to figure out a way to save their Digimon's memories and all that, or to fight off the infection, so they wouldn't have to be rebooted. Couldn't manage that. Had to force them all back into the rift. They had a really hard time fighting Mekumon back into the rift because of all the mutations that were going on with it, getting stronger and all that. And one by one, all the other Digimon started to become infected and go crazy and started attacking and fighting back also. And then finally, good old Izzy's partner Digimon, Tentamon, nice little beetle, gets its mega evolution. Hercules Kabuterimon.
Hercules Kabuterimon?
Yes.
Pretty much Hercules beetle.
A giant 2 or 4-armed Hercules beetle.
When you say 4-armed, do you mean like human arms coming out of a Hercules beetle?
Buggish arms.
Yeah, bug arms.
Okay.
With claws.
Okay. I'm less upset about that mental image than I am about a giant Hercules beetle with human arms.
It's very much bug.
Okay.
But he manages to wrestle them all back into the rift just in time for the reboot to happen. And so, with a little bit of help from Mako, the uptight businesswoman who seems to have her own agenda at this point.
Who's a member of the secret organization alongside their teacher,
Daigo.
Dachi?
Daigo.
Daigo.
Yep. So she helps them with a Digivice that she has.
Don't only the Digidestined get Digivices?
Yes.
I'm following. I'm picking up on key details.
Only she brings out her Digivice and hooks it up to a computer, and with the assistance of that and the 8 other Digidestined that are there, with their Digivices, they open up a portal to the digital world, and the 8 Digidestined go into the digital world to try to track down their partners.
And save their memories.
Yes. When they arrive, though, things are not good. You'd think the reboot would fix everything. No, it didn't. The infection's still there. Alphamon is fighting another big Digimon called Jesmon.
Jesmon?
Jesmon.
Also, events kind of play out the exact same way as the opening of Adventure.
Yep. They run away from the Digimon. They find their partners. Although their partners... Actually, this time, it's like the inverse of before. Because in Digimon Adventures 01, when they first arrive in the digital world, the Digimon find them and already know their names, and they're like, yeah, we're your partners. This time it's the reverse. The humans, the Digidestined, are like, we're your partners, guys, but the Digimon are like, who are you people? Why are you here?
The Digimon can talk?
Yes.
I missed that key detail somewhere.
Oh. But yes, they can talk.
Okay.
They're not like Pokemon where they just make sounds or say their own name.
I assumed they were like actual animals where they just fought and didn't speak. I mean, lived their normal lives. I'm not into animals fighting other animals. I don't go to like dog fighting or something like that. Fuck, that's a really dark thing for me to joke about. I don't actually participate in dog fighting in any form.
That's one of the reasons why I like Digimon more than Pokemon, is because Pokemon is a huge analogy for dog fighting.
You're not wrong. Whereas
Digimon very much isn't.
It's very much about gladiatorial combat, where actual sentient beings who talk and communicate fight to the death.
Yeah, that's actually an apt descriptor.
Cool.
Then, some things happen. They're trying to get to know the Digimon again. And then good old Genai appears, who was a well-known character for the other Digidestined in the past.
A very old man that got them their crests and Digimon.
A very old man.
Very old man named Jedi who is...
Genai.
Genai, okay.
G-N-N-I. Something like that.
Okay.
I think it's N-A-I.
That makes more sense.
G-N-N-A-I.
Makes more sense than what I was thinking. I was thinking there's some weird Star Wars connection going on here.
Yeah. But Genai and Maki are together. Maki, the uptight.
Yes, the uptight lady. What is
Lady.
she doing with this Jedi?
So, we find out that...
Wait, is Jedi a member of the secret organization, and that's why he was helping them out when they were younger, because he's trying to protect the Digidestined?
He's actually part of another
No.
secret organization.
Different secret organization.
Because, first he's up on a cliff as the Digimon Emperor. Then he turns into Jedi. So we find out that Jedi is posing as the Digimon Emperor for whatever reason. And Maki's talking to him. Maki was in on this plan to reboot the digital world because she was one of the original Digidestined. And her partner Digimon died, as in did not come back as an egg. So she found out through research that if the digital world were to be rebooted, then her partner Digimon would be brought back to life. So that was her whole shtick in this.
And what was Jedi's reason for wanting to reset the world?
We're not entirely sure at this point yet.
Okay.
But something is going on, and something forced the reset for whatever reason.
But the reset didn't fully work in getting rid of the virus.
Correct.
Okay.
And then, the next episode, more things happen. They find Mekumon again. And whereas all their partner Digimon had lost their memories, Mekumon still has her memories of everything.
Which is significant because Mekumon was also the one who originated the virus.
Yes.
So the fact that the virus isn't gone and Mekumon has their memories fits with the fact that all that other stuff happened. So, okay.
Yes. And, so that is revealed. Rifts start opening up again. The virus starts spreading once more. Genai reveals himself to the Digidestined and tries to kill them. And very much assaults Sora in a very creepy way, licks her face and all that. He is very much a creepy villain now.
Alright.
Hashtag not my Jedi.
Yep.
Or not all Jedis?
Not all Jedi.
But yeah, at this point we find out that...
From my point of view, it's the Jedis that are evil.
Yeah, at this point we find out the whole reason as to why things are going bad. Find out that Jedi is working for someone or something called Yggdrasil, or King Drasil.
Named after the world tree from Norse mythology. Alright, cool.
Yes. And they have come to the realization, this powerful entity, that the human world is relying too heavily on digital technology now, and has come to the conclusion that the Digimon can't risk their safety from humans and their interference. So they have decided that, hey, let's destroy the human world.
Okay. Let me see if I'm correctly following, which I'm probably not. So, starts off, humans create the digital world unintentionally through creating and booting up the first ever computer. In this digital world,
Yes, so in this...
magic shit starts to happen. Monsters begin to exist, called digital monsters, or Digimon for short.
Yes.
They manage to come over to the human world.
Essentially, artificial intelligence with their own forms and abilities.
Yes. They manage to come over to the human world through portals that start to open up. They wreck shit in the human world sometimes, but not often. And then they come back and they're like, you know what's going on? The human world is fucking with the digital world too much. Let's just destroy the human world as a whole. Wouldn't that just also destroy the digital world?
You'd think so. And so you're like, they're clearly insane. But there's something else going on here in the future.
Okay.
The only thing I could think of the whole way you were describing that was that part from Jurassic Park. It's like, God creates dinosaur. God kills dinosaur. God creates man. Man kills God. Man creates dinosaur. Dinosaur kills man.
Yeah, it's essentially that.
Yep. But, so yeah, we're still kind of confused as to why this is happening, but now we know what's happening, and kind of their reasoning why. And, we get a little scene at the end where, Maki finds her partner Digimon. It's like, yes, I finally found you, you're alive. But her partner Digimon doesn't remember her. So she goes batshit insane. And then that's almost the last we see of her.
So she reset the digital world, knowing that it would erase the memories from the Digimon, who already existed, and was like...
She wasn't told that aspect.
But, like, she could tell that the other people were worried about that happening, presumably.
She didn't care.
but she assumed that her Digimon who had been dead and was being recreated would still have... Oh my god, she's a fucking idiot. That's what she is.
Yep, she had been planning that for, from 1995 when her Digimon died.
Almost called it a Pokemon again.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Her pal, Digimon.
Her pal.
To 2005. So she's been planning that for...
About a decade.
It didn't go quite as planned. And she's gone a little insane now.
Kind of sounds like she was insane to begin with, but alright.
Yeah, but we learned that she was kind of played along to get the ball rolling in the human world by Yggdrasil.
You just gotta learn you can't trust Digimon that are trees.
Yeah, because another notable villain in the first season was a tree Digimon.
Like Cherrymon.
Cherrymon. It's a big cherry tree.
He was with a puppet.
And worked with a clown. And a big metal dragon.
Let's get back to the...
Two big metal dragons.
Two big metal dragons. One of them's a sea serpent.
Let's get back to the plot of Tri Digimon or Digimon Tri, because if we keep jumping back to the first season, I'm gonna get so lost.
Okay, fair enough. So, all the Digidestined were able to become friends again with all of their partners, except for Sora. Although Sora, being the crest of love, was kind of seen as a motherly figure, always taking care of everyone else in the group. Her partner Digimon didn't like that. Didn't like that Sora was apparently a partner with her in the past. She had no recollection of that. She didn't know Sora and didn't want to have anything to do with her. So Sora was distraught about that. Things happen, they come back together, though big fight happens, and Sora gets her Mega Evolution for her partner Digimon. Phoenixmon. That's the name of that one.
Yep.
Because her Digimon's a bird. Starts off as a plant, turns into a bird.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like they're trying to make as little sense as possible.
Oh, because there is the other one that's a plant that turns into a plant, which turns into a person.
Okay.
A plant person.
A plant person.
Kind of unfair, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. I'm invested. I'm here. I'm ready to learn how the story ends.
Okay.
Does it end with just the writers like animating themselves into the story and giving you the middle finger and then walking away?
No.
That's pretty much Neon Genesis.
But, since that's pretty much up to where you've seen Keith, I'm not entirely sure how much I should... Well, I'm going to talk about things that happen, but I don't know if I should talk about the
dive
events.
hardcore into it.
Okay.
You've already... I want to say... No, I was going to say you've already ruined it for me, but you haven't ruined it. You've confused the fuck out of me, but you haven't ruined it for me, so might as well spoil it for Keith.
Okay. At this point, Homeostasis realizes, hey, Meikumon is still alive, the virus is still spreading, so we've got to eliminate Meikumon to fix things and get rid of this virus.
So the god now wants to kill one of the Digidestined Digimon, alright.
Yep.
Just like Joan of Arc.
Yeah. And,
just compare a Digimon to Joan of Arc.
Maybe.
I like it. Alright.
And so, huge fight breaks out with the Digidestined trying to save Meikumon because they want to protect Meikumon. And the transfer student's Digimon partner, the transfer student, they want them to get back together as friends again. So they're fighting to protect Meikumon from Jessmon, who is working for Homeostasis, while Alphamon, working for Yggdrasil, shows up and starts fighting against Jessmon also. So it turns into a huge free-for-all between Jessmon, Alphamon, Omegamon, and Meikumon.
But
if you've got all those names.
But Omegamon and Meikumon aren't fighting because they're on the same side.
Except Meikumon is also fighting against Omegamon because
Meikumon
of the fact that
Meikumon
infected.
is corrupted by the virus.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So all this fighting ensues.
So really only Omegamon's on the side of Meikumon.
Yes.
Meikumon's not even on Meikumon's side.
Correct.
Yeah, that's actually correct from what I saw.
But then this is where things take a sudden dark twist.
Everybody
Of
dies.
course, it's not already dark in the fact that both the god and the devil want the hero's pets dead. Yeah, go on.
I'm gonna guess hashtag not my Jedi comes back and gets even weirder.
Not right now.
He starts licking even more children's faces.
Jessmon releases a powerful attack to try to drive off Alphamon. ends up catching Tai and their teacher, Daigo, in the blast, because Daigo also came along with...
the 8 Digidestined.
with the transfer student, Mako, that's her name.
Okay.
By my understanding of Digimon, that means Tai's Digimon evolves even further, right?
No.
Damn it.
Means Tai dies, right?
Yes. Quote unquote.
He turns back into an egg, which they have to bring to a Digimon daycare.
I was going to say they just need to reboot the human world.
Beam goes off, ground starts crumbling. Tai motions to Omegamon to save, I think, Matt and Mako, the transfer student. And so Omegamon does that, much to the distraught displeasure of Matt and Mako, to see Tai running for his life as the ground's crumbling underneath him, and Daigo reaching his hand out for Tai just as boulders just crash down around them and they disappear into a chasm of debris and such. Very much looks like Tai was crushed to death by boulders at this point.
It isn't the first time. Tai's gotten into a tight spot, falling down a chasm.
Yeah, but at this point, Kari, Tai's sister, with the Crest of Light, easily empowered by lightness, easily influenced by darkness, sees this,
and just starts murdering the other kids.
starts getting a little bit distraught about the fact that her brother just died in front of her.
You really think, like, considering what her power apparently is, light I don't think is the best term for it. It should be like duality or something like that.
Yeah.
Balance.
Emotion.
And so, Yggdrasil takes this time to,
Corrupt Kari.
do a little bit.
Akari's cross power is just edgelord.
With a little bit of influence, makes her Digimon, Gatomon, a cat, digivolve into the ultimate form, Angel, digivolve to the next form, which is a dragon, and then digivolve, well, not to the dragon, but to the ultimate dark digivolved form.
Kind of like Skull Greymon.
Yes, like Skull Greymon.
It's that giant dinosaur with the missiles in his chest, but it's a giant skeleton instead. But that's if he digivolves really angry.
Ophanimon Fallen Down mode is this one.
So the evil tree takes advantage of the fact that the young girl is feeling a little bit depressed about the fact that her brother just died, and forcefully evolves her Digimon
Into the dark mega form.
into the evil form, and it's like, now you're gonna kill people for me.
Kind of, yes.
Cool.
Because now that's happened, you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? Mekumon and Ophanimon, that's Kari's Digimon's name now, fly up into the sky and fuse together.
Another DNA digivolve.
Another DNA digivolve.
What do they become?
They become
The devil with 2 swords, except the swords have guns in the blades?
a giant, freakishly demonic looking thing, white body, huge black wings, called Ordinimon.
Does it have swords?
No. 2 giant wings that can do lots of damage because they can extend into a bunch of tentacles.
Does it have, like, 2 guns and a cigarette?
No.
To match with Kari's edgelord status?
No.
Does it have a backwards hat on?
No.
Fedora?
Does it have any sort of hat or headwear?
No.
Fuck.
Flies up into the sky, disappears into a rift. And they're panicking. Because Kari is unconscious now. Something evil just got loose and is headed towards the real world to destroy the real world.
Yep.
Yeah. And then cut into the final movie where they return to the real world.
To find this demon angel.
To find this demon angel. Who's not quite arrived, but
He took the long way. Scenic route.
homeostasis has come to another conclusion.
He has to kill the Digidestined.
No. This one is a little bit of a stretch.
Fuse the digital world with the real world.
That's what Yggdrasil is doing.
Oh, okay.
Yggdrasil is combining, or kind of absorbing the real world into the digital world, kind of digitizing it, to be able to take it over, destroy human life.
We're getting really close to a Mass Effect 3 ending cycle here.
And so, homeostasis chimes in now and says, okay, your world is mostly digitized now, so what we're going to do is we're going to reboot your world.
I told you they were going to reboot the world.
And obviously, Izzy, being the smart lad he is like, do you know how bad that is? We've got so many digital devices. We've got our economy to worry about. We've got infrastructure, our information. Jesus, you're going to mess everything up.
Classic Izzy, worrying about the economy.
Also, wouldn't it fuck with humans if you rebooted the human world, not
Yes.
just their technology?
Yes. But that's not Izzy's concern. He likes technology.
Okay.
So,
Izzy's the only reason they survived the first season.
Okay.
Because he's the only person that could figure out what the fuck was going on.
yeah.
Also, his computer was able to, like, work
'Cause-
like a Pokedex.
Well, Jedi gave him a digital scanner. Because back then he was their friend.
Turned villain in season 3.
Not my Jedi.
Not my Jedi.
Okay.
My Jedi is an old man that lived in that pixel daycare center and sent not Pokemon, Digimon into the,
The both of you.
Yeah, so fighting breaks
I
out.
said daycare and I immediately thought Pokemon, but there was a daycare in Digimon and Jedi sent it into the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, fighting starts to break out between the Digimon and the big demon angel now, or Dinamon, or Dinamon. Hard name to say. But yeah, little kind of metallic dog with a red cape Digimon shows up now. You've seen flashes of him in the background up until now.
Yep.
He's the messenger of homeostasis.
Sure.
And, yeah, he's like, yeah, he's how they found out about homeostasis' plan to reboot the human world. But, after seeing what the Digidistant were capable of in starting to fight back against this, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna help you guys out too. Because, homeostasis has her plans and I support her, but you guys are doing something amazing. And, yeah, cut to some underground laboratory.
I was really hoping you were going to say, cut to a year later, all the problems have been solved, and they don't go through how they resolved a single issue.
Can you remember that thing last year? Oh, that was crazy, wasn't it?
We find Ty waking up in some underground lab. And
He's now a Digimon.
no. He's confused as to why he's there. Then he hears his teacher, Daigo, off to the side, looks over. He's freaking bleeding to death.
Daigo's bleeding to death?
Daigo's bleeding to death. And
Not Daigo.
yes, die, go.
Don't die, go.
Die, go away. But, no. So, yeah, they're trying to figure out where they are. They find out, hey, there's a bunch of stasis pods here, and all of the Season 2 Digidestined who were attacked were moved there by homeostasis because Yggdrasil attacked them after they found out Yggdrasil's plan. That's what we saw at the beginning.
So the Season 2 Digidestined are now back into the story.
Kind of.
They're in stasis pods.
They're in stasis pods, and that's pretty much...
But they're alive if the writers ever want to bring them in for, like, a Season 4.
Yes.
There's 3 of them, and they can use multiple crests, too.
Oh, there's 4 of them.
There's 4?
Because Ken...
Oh, yeah, Ken. To be fair, he wasn't a Digidestined for most of season
For
2.
most of... Yeah, no. It was near the end when he finally got his crest and all that. But, yeah. Jedi shows up. Good old crazy Jedi. Hashtag not my Jedi.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, some good news for you. I'm gonna turn off their life support. So they're gonna die if you don't do something. There's one more transfer chamber open. So you guys can go back to the human world, but there's 2 of you, 1 transfer chamber, so one of you is gonna stay here. Oh yeah, and when you hit the transfer button, this place is gonna blow up.
So Daigo goes.
So he's a cunt.
Yeah, because he likes to mess with people.
They let Jedi go through the transfer chamber.
Jedi, go through! We've given up on the human world.
And so Jedi pieces there, goes back to the human world just to watch things unfold and to cackle menacingly in the background. That's pretty much all he does for the rest of this.
Does he get stabbed at least once?
No, sadly. Fuck. And, yeah, so Daigo pulls the cliche move of, hey, we've got to figure something out. You go check out the transfer tube and see if we can do something about this. Ty goes into the transfer
Save
tube,
your life pushes him in.
closes the door behind Ty, and just transports them all back to the human world. During all the fighting, there's a bunch of things that happen. They find out that Ty is back because Agumon and Ty jump in at the last moment to save the life of Mako, who's about to be killed by big demon goddess who's about to destroy the world.
Which one's the one who has the Hope crest?
Kari.
Kari.
No, TK.
Right,
Kari's-
TK. Kari's light.
No, Kari's Edgelord.
Kari's edgelord. TK is light. TK is hope.
Okay. TK is the one who keeps gaining power at the last possible moment to save the world. Does that happen in this bottle?
No.
Battle?
I mean, to be fair, it also didn't happen in the Digimon movie.
Okay.
It's only Digimon Adventure 1.
And then he kind of reached the peak of his power. Until he reached his Mega Evolution for the one fight that they had. But anyway, in this fight, Izzy's analyzing the whole thing as he do. And on his laptop, he discovers that inside Mekumon, when the reboot of the digital world happened, the memory of all their Digimon, of every Digimon, was stored inside of Mekumon.
An external hard drive.
Yeah. So,
They just have to cut open Mekumon and take the memories outside.
yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't get corrupted. Oh, wait.
So, summing things up here, they start fighting the big demon as the military bombards.
The big demon, which is currently Mekumon and Omegamon.
No, it's...
Mekumon and
Kari's
Ophanimon. Kari's Digimon.
Kari's Digimon. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So the military is bombarding that with tanks and guns and all that, while the Digimon are fighting it. And during the fighting, they're able to get through to, Gatomon, because Ophanimon is existing inside the big angel of death somehow as Gatomon, which is
Gatomon, the first form of the
is
cat.
Yeah, the cat
the
one.
champion form.
The cat one.
champion, because she's an example of...
Of,
They don't always go back to rookie form because Gatomon's always in champion form for the most part.
for the most part, when they come across them when they first meet them again in the digital world, when they go back after the reset, she is in the in-training form.
Yeah.
And then she digivolves to a rookie form, but then becomes Gatomon again.
Yeah, Digimon, based on what their strength level is, because where they get stronger, their base level ends up being stronger, which would pair with the form that's strongest with them. So that's why Gatomon's usually a champion. Even when she uses a lot of her power, she goes back to that form because that's her base level for the most part. Whereas Agumon's still at base level.
Rookie.
Okay, so the cat Digimon is still sentient as a part of the evil demon.
Fighting and damaging the big evil demon.
And so they
Woke up
communicate
Gatomon.
they communicate with the cat.
Gatomon is, when Izzy found Gatomon, that's also when he found the memories and all that.
Memory. Yep.
And as Gatomon was starting to break free and they were doing damage to it, the memories came loose. All the Digimon got their memories back. And then Gatomon broke free, but the big demon angel was still there.
Wasn't the demon... Alright, yeah, okay.
Because, before it could transform back, it happened through mutation of Mekumon. Mekumon never digivolved, only just mutated to different forms. All of the data that was emptied out of that creature from all the memories being released was filled in by Yggdrasil. So Yggdrasil decided, hey, there's a lot of free space, I can control this now myself.
And was Makumon one of the Digidestin's Digimon, or was he just a wild
Mekumon
Digimon?
was the Digimon partner of the transfer student.
Okay.
So came along sometime after the death of the antagonist of Season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they come to the conclusion that in order to stop this, the only way they can stop it now is to kill Mekumon.
Oh, I was really hoping you were going to say the transfer student. Because his life
No.
was somehow linked to Mekumon. Alright, yeah, they gotta kill this one.
Yeah, and so
Do
there's
they gotta kill it permadead or just back to egg form?
permadead.
Like they did to Maki. Well, not like they did, but like what happened to Maki, which caused her to go insane and reset the digital world. Cool!
So now we get a power-up. Omegamon gets to power up into a new form, Omegamon Mercy Mode. His cape turns into wings. His sword becomes a katana. His cannon becomes even bigger.
And you called him Mercy Mode?
Mercy Mode.
Even though he's evolving into that form explicitly so that he can withhold mercy and end a being's life.
He's granting the mercy of ending suffering.
He's murdering the shit out of someone and calling it mercy, yes.
He's mercy mode because no matter how much you ask for it, it won't come.
I like that.
Well, merciful mode.
All right.
So yeah, that happens. The fight wraps up. And Mekumon has one more heartfelt goodbye and a thank you to her partner, Mako. And then she dies. The Digimon dies, not Mako.
And then a couple years later, Mako dies of heartbreak. Yep. Okay.
Nope. Mako moves back to her hometown.
I hope they just Photoshop her into the epilogue. There the whole time.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much the whole thing. Everything wraps up there. Mako moves back to her hometown. Still stays in contact with them because they're all still friends, even though they killed her friend. And, yeah. That's where the movie kind of ends. Wraps up everything. The reboot of the human world was averted because they were able to take out the big bad. And Genai jumps through a portal, is like, what am I gonna do next? I'm still evil. Mwahaha.
Sure.
Season 4.
I don't know.
Another
Digimon
movie?
Quad?
Because there's...
Digimon Quadriceps?
Yeah, there's a couple questions that I still
Digimon
have
Quad
about
Bike.
Digimon Adventures. Mainly, one, the epilogue that we were given at the end of Season 2, where the 25 laters happened. Tai is now an ambassador to the digital world, between the digital world and the human world. Kari is a teacher who frequently performs trips to the digital world, all of that stuff. And TK is a journalist and what have you.
Ty's still dead.
Izzy became the internet.
Izzy became the internet. Now, in February, on the 21st, they released a Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna movie, where the synopsis was something bad happens and they have to fight with their Digimon again to stop it, as per usual, but little counters show up on their Digivices, and every time the Digimon Digivolve and fight, the counters go down, and once the counters hit 0, then they're never going to be able to see their Digimon partners again. And then they'll stop being Digidestined. So they have to fight against the evil while coming to terms that their time together is coming to an end. So that brings into question the fact that they have a 25 years later epilogue. Are they going to retcon it, or is something going to happen where they do get to see each other again?
At the same time, though, Digimon's never been hard to their canon specifically, because there have been a lot of little spin-off things that don't actually play out exactly as they're supposed to, because the events of the Digimon movie, for example, don't neatly line up with everything that happens in Tri, as well as a lot of stuff from the second season also doesn't quite line up properly. Because, for example, going into the epilogue at the end of 2,
Yes.
the team of the second team kind of stayed that way until that point, until they stopped being Digidestined.
Right,
So TK and
yeah.
Kari not being part of that team when the events unfold in Tri and being part of the main team again doesn't quite line up with what we know for the end of Season 2.
Yeah.
The events of the
because
Digimon movie also kind of don't line up with that properly.
Yeah, and also the end of Season 2 also ended with the digital world opening up permanently to access by anyone for anyone.
Yeah, and pretty much we get and nothing bad ever happened again.
Yeah. Which is evidently not the case.
Well, Tri and the Digimon movie both counteract that.
Yes. But also, something I just came across the other day is another Digimon anime releasing in spring of this year, titled Digimon Adventure. And the way that its synopsis was phrased, I don't know if it's going to be a remake of the original Digimon Adventure, because it's the original cast, as kids again. Except it's not taking place from summer camp. It's taking place... I guess the way they phrase it is that it could take place after the events of Season 1, but before the events of Season 2. But I don't know if it's going to be a remake, a retelling, or a continuation of the first season.
Oh, fair enough. They go to computer camp instead. Because, to be fair, getting pulled through a portal in a summer camp didn't make sense.
Not really, no. But you also have to take into consideration the fact that they're basing all of this off is that we have a huge connection with the digital world because of our reliance on digital devices, and there's such a close overlap because of that.
Yeah.
And so certain cases, like the infected Meikumon, Yggdrasil, and homeostasis, they have the ability to kind of influence that boundary a bit.
Yep.
So are there any other questions that you have, Peter?
About Digimon? Nope, you made everything very clear for me, Matthew.
I will say, I do need to finish Try now, and from the sound of it, the fact that they left the Jedi thing loose there, I kind of want them to go back and deal with, whether it's like a movie or something like that. Like, have you seen the final Digivolve?
Not yet, because I looked it up, but I haven't been able to find any site streaming
like,
or
if
anything
that
yet.
wraps up the Jedi thing, then perfectly fine by me.
Yeah.
But if they kind of just don't address it anymore, that's the thing that kind of would bug me with the series.
Mm-hmm. Because I think I have it written down here. Yeah. That movie, The Last Evolution in Kizuna, takes place 5 years after the end of Digimon Adventure Tri.
Okay. And that puts it around 17 years before the epilogue. So I guess they could just keep throwing stuff in there.
Yeah, there's still room, but...
Or, change the epilogue.
True. Which I would be fine with, because the epilogue was very much, hey, here's a happy ending for you. Whereas Digimon Adventure 1 and Adventure Tri have very, very strong bittersweet endings.
I'll be honest, I don't remember Season 2 very much.
It kind of...
It just kind of ended.
Yeah, it went for a happy ending. Because I guess at that time, it was probably planned that would be the end of that chapter.
Yeah.
And they'd move on to the other worlds like Tamers and all that.
So, while I don't have questions about Digimon, I do have some other questions.
Oh?
As it's been a while since I've done a Peter game, as you may or may not know.
Have you somehow made a Peter game for Digimon?
No! I made a Peter game for what your topic was clearly going to be about, which is The Legend of Zelda.
Oh no.
Alright.
I did very quickly amend it once I discovered what we were talking about. So, the game was originally, and still is, guess the title of the Legend of Zelda game, because there have been a lot of Legend of Zelda games. I added in bonus points, based on the fact that we talked about an anime, where the way it's going to work, I have 5 different games I'm going to get you guys to guess the title of. Initially, I was just going to give you a brief plot synopsis, and you had to guess the title. Now I'm going to start by just giving you the Japanese title of the game, and if you can guess the name in English off of that, you get 2 points, and then if you guess it off the plot synopsis after the Japanese title, you only get 1 point.
Oh, okay.
Also, I apologize ahead of time, I'm going to be terrible at pronouncing these. You guys ready?
As much as I can be.
Sure.
Question number 1. Also, I apologize for derailing your Digimon episode with a Zelda-based Peter game. So, our first game, known in Japanese as Zaruda no Densetsu, Kamigami no Torafosu Su.
I'm going to say it's the Oracle games, isn't it?
Do you have a guess, Matthew?
So I know Kami is God, loosely translated. So, yeah, that's the only one I can think of that would have anything related to God in the titles.
Alright.
Why? Google Translate that to make sure.
Nope. So, that's not... It has a direct English translation, which is not the title of the game in English. I was going to look that up, but I'm not going to bother doing that right now. Maybe I'll do it later and tell you guys. But my actual question was originally going to be, this game is a direct sequel to a game released 22 years earlier, in which a scumbag named Ravio moves into your home and sets up shop.
Oh. That's a Link Between Worlds.
Correct, you both get a point. Alright, game number 2. Zaruda no Densetsu, Yume Omiru Shima.
Link to the Past?
Do you have a guess, Matthew?
Wind Waker?
No. Alright. Actual question that I had originally written. This is the first game in the Legend of Zelda series to be available on a handheld console. The majority of the game takes
Link's
place
Awakening?
on... Correct, it's Link's Awakening. Alright. Question number 3. Zaruda no Densetsu, Daichi no Kiketi. Daichi no Kiteki. There we go.
Link's Crossbow Training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright. This was the second game made specifically for the Nintendo DS.
Nope.
It features the brand new mechanic of driving trains.
Oh, that's
Spear
Spear
Tracks.
Tracks.
Correct. Alright. Zaruda no Densetsu, Bereso Oba za Wairudo.
Jojo? Zawarudo.
I think that one
Breath
might
of
be
the
the
Wild.
Oracles.
Breath of the Wild is correct. Matt gets 2 points.
I believe we're tied now.
Alright. Last one. There is no bonus points for this one. Because this game was not made by Nintendo. It was originally made by Philips CDI. In fact, there's 2 games.
Wand of Gamelon.
Can you name the other one, Matt?
Something about masks.
It's the Faces of Evil.
Faces
I think
of
that
Evil.
gives it to Keith. Keith wins our Peter game.
I think that's the closest one we've had yet.
Yeah, very much so. I don't think I deserve a punishment for that.
No, you definitely don't deserve a punishment.
Because I was researching Digimon, not Legend of Zelda.
You actually have to go back and listen to the Brent Weeks episode.
Okay. Jesus. I also have another question. Not so much that I want you guys to answer, but why the fuck is it that for each of our special birthday episodes where we each picked a topic, I feel like I'm going insane throughout the entire episode?
Well, because Keith chose a game that's essentially a fever dream.
I chose a book that's absolutely a fever dream.
And I chose something that is intricately woven in storytelling. It has an intricately woven story, but sounds absolutely outlandish and crazy to an outsider who knows next to nothing.
I mean,
about
it did
the
sound
series.
crazy to me.
Because you have a background in Digimon.
I don't, and it sounded like nonsense.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
So it's a win situation for us, a lose situation for you.
Fair enough.
So get to watching Digimon.
I feel like at the very least I have to watch Digimon Tri now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I probably won't go back and watch the first 2 seasons. Unless I get emotionally invested in the characters. I'm not invested in the names Ty or Kari yet.
But I think that draws up what I want to talk about Digimon. Do you guys have any other things to close out with?
No, I think you did a good job going
Yeah.
over it. That really took me back, that conversation.
I understand things I didn't understand before the conversation, and that's really the goal of these podcasts, is to introduce people to stuff they didn't know about.
After
I
this,
didn't realize it was supposed to be me who was getting introduced to stuff.
to befuddle you a little more after this, I think I'm going to show you a little web of possible Digivolutions.
That's fair. Also, I feel like Peter's been really between a rock and a hard set of teeth.
Yeah. Really. He's caught between a rock and 2 sets of teeth.
That's probably a reference that I'm not getting.
Well, I guess we'll end things there. So, as normal, let's take a look, see if anyone is able to guess the episode from the photo we uploaded.
Not quite yet.
Oh, nothing yet. But, of course, if you guess us before the episode goes live on the 23rd,
We
you will
will-
get a shout-out in the next episode.
We'll call you out in the next episode.
You'll get a... First of all, you'll get a shout out when we post the picture for this one on Instagram, and we will specifically call you out at the beginning of the next episode of the podcast.
Of course, on top of that, if you want to send an email or a message to us, if you know what the episode might be about, or a topic that you have that you would like to hear about, of course, send us an email.
Our email is, as usual, never changing, whatismypodcastabout@gmail.com.
I was so ready for you to say "our" in there. I was so ready for it.
On top of that, we are also on YouTube. You can get us at any place that podcasts are available. You can also follow us on Instagram, all that linked below. You can comment in the YouTube videos. Oh, we haven't had any since. Sadly, that guy who wanted to be our friend has removed his comments since. But come on, tell us, what's wrong?
We'll be your friend, we promise. So,
On top of that, our next episode will be going live on the 6th of April.
6th of April. That is assuming things don't get worse. I mean, 2020's essentially been a carnival of horror so far. We started with Australia on fire, and then next up we had that weird almost war, and now we're in the middle of an international pandemic shutting down the entire world.
Yeah,
I mean, how can it get worse? What, is fucking Cthulhu gonna show up next?
I don't know, but just be ready to roll your insanity checks.
I don't think I need to roll that. I'm pretty sure I've already failed.
Does it have, like, 2 guns and a cigarette?
No.
to match with Kaori's edgelord status?
No.